Tonight on Country Squire Radio, we're talking top 3 breakfast blends.
Plus a pipe question on cherry blends.
Quickfire questions, your feedback, the coolest dog in the world, and more happening right now on Country Squire Radio. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Bo.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Bo. Good evening, man.
Man, good evening to you, sir. How you doing tonight?
Dude, I'm great. I'm doing well. Hey, what the coolest dog in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that'll play out later.
You just caught me off guard with that.
No. We'll get there.
We'll talk about that later. Man, how was your trip to San Francisco?
Yo, dude, yeah, San Francisco, then Los Angeles. It was a blast, man. Unfortunately, we talked about wanting to do kind of a meetup out that way, and schedules did not align, unfortunately, at the near the end. But yeah, it was a blast. I'd never been out to California, and
is that right?
Yeah, and for me, the big takeaway, aside from just a bunch of great meetings and some wonderful things that kind of happened there on a professional level, was I busted out my Pokemon Go app and discovered that, like, in California, or specifically San Francisco, they've got new features geo-locked to that area.
Yeah.
So I was playing a version of the game that, like, no one else in the world has.
Unless you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
I was taking screenshots.
That's
and
really
sending
cool.
them to Caleb the intern and being like, ha ha. Rocking it along. But yeah, man, it was really interesting.
Beautiful part of the world, huh?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Very busy.
Yeah.
San Francisco in particular was just a lot going on. There's just an energy there. There's tons of people. Like when you're when you've grown up kind of in central Mississippi and the surrounding areas, our definition of a lot of people, I mean, it's very relative.
Oh, look, must be a sale on at Target.
Right, exactly. And so, it was just jam packed. But then on the flip side, you go to LA, and obviously there's a lot of stuff going on in LA as well, but it's all very much siloed. Like in San Francisco, I feel like everybody's all kind of jammed together.
Right.
And you have kind of like all of these different kind of cultures coming together and very much in kind of that Silicon Valley tech mindset. But in LA, it's just, I don't know. We walked the streets of LA for a little bit looking for brunch one morning, and I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a ghost town.
Yeah.
It was a complete flip. And so,
isn't that interesting?
In our minds, we're so far away. We kind of, at least I do this, or was doing this. I was painting California with one big broad brushstroke.
And man, it's such a diverse state.
It stretches like the entire side of the country. So when we got to San Francisco, I was thinking, it's going to be bright, sunny, and warm, but no, it's chilly and freezing.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Then we head down to LA, and I'd been bundling up. I was like, oh no, now we're warm again.
And now
it's anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience.
Man,
and,
that's awesome. You got to connect with some other podcasters and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we went to the whole reason we were going was for LA Podfest, which is a big podcast convention. Really great. I got to meet Will Wheaton, which is a guy that's big in the podcast community. He was on the old Star Trek show. Will Wheaton. In my mind, no offense to Will Wheaton, but I feel like the only reason why he's in the public consciousness is because of that Family Guy joke. but I did get a chance to meet him. Bill Hader was there. This guy who was in Deadpool, he was the bartender in Deadpool. I can't remember his name. He's a comedian. He's kind of got a big following in the podcast world too. So he was there as well. So yeah, really, it was a good turnout. But Beyond the Night Veil or something like that, which is another big podcast. They did a live show. Breyer, my co-founder for Satchel, he's a big fan of them, so he was able to sit in on that. And I met the folks who do Criminal and a lot of great stuff. So if you're into podcasting, if that's kind of your scene, then you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a big con for that.
Yeah, the rest of everybody else is like, all right, get on with the pipes.
That's great though, man. I'm glad y'all had a good time.
Yeah,
I know you're exhausted. You actually flew back into Jackson, got in basically this morning and did not sleep last night.
Yeah.
So you're going to be comatose in about 3 hours.
Plus, you lose time too. We flew out.
No, it's not fair at all.
At midnight last night, we were working from noon to midnight, and then we flew from California into Dallas, and we arrived in Dallas this morning at 6. And then we hopped a plane to Jackson and got into Jackson at 8 o'clock. So literally, I've not had much sleep in the last 48 hours.
Well, you look like it. I'm just kidding.
Thank you. No, I'm sure I do. It reminds me, I haven't been living off of this less sleep since the kids were born.
It's okay. It looks like you've showered and powdered your nose and all that kind of stuff.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Does it really?
Isn't that fun? We'll leave it at that.
What about you, man? I've been gone for a week. What you been up to?
Man, got a lot going on around the old pipe shop here. It's been a lot of fun. We've talked in the past about kind of summertime being our slower time of year, but Dude, it's been straight up busy. Like I'm just thrilled because it's been really, really steady. So we've been just rocking and rolling here around the shop, which is nice. So a couple things going on around here on October 15th. Exciting news. We've got our annual Jackson Pipe Night. So October 15th, it's I think that's the second Saturday in October, just in a couple weeks here, but it'd be $20 for Pipe Club members to get in. Magnolia Pipe Club members, it'll be $25 for just
for normies,
for you normies out there. But be right here at the Country Squire, and then we're going to do our long smoke competition. We'll have live music and food and all the other good stuff that goes along with it. So really excited about it this year. Is sponsored by Rocks Pipes and Monjur International.
All right. Will there be a Rocks Pipe? Will there be a Rocks Pipe up for grabs?
There will, of some shape and description, but we
don't know what it is.
We haven't nailed it down yet.
Oh man!
But there will be Rocks Pipe, and we've also Steve Monjur, who is the one of the American reps for our door pipes, Ronaldo, Brebbia, just some really high end brands. Steve has agreed to give us just a beautiful pipe as well as a gift for the event. So we're really excited about that, and I look forward to seeing you there. So that's on October 15th.
October 15th.
Yep. And in a couple days, you'll be able to actually get on the countrysquireonline.com and purchase a ticket if you want to do that.
Oh, so, man. Look at you.
A couple other things. Our friend, actually, we can do that under listener feedback. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So, don't we have some other announcements?
Oh, coming in October?
Yeah.
There does
seem like there's something going on.
Kind of near the end of October. I feel like there was something going on.
Is it Halloween? No.
That's not it. That's not it. You know what? I think it is
All Saints Day.
No, that's not it either. That's not it either. Although you could dress up for this, because what we're talking about, of course, is Country Squire Radio live from New Orleans.
Ow!
It's going to be awesome. Are you going? You should be.
I'm going.
It's going to be incredible.
Dude,
we're doing it at the Cigar Factory. Out in New Orleans in the French Quarter, the historic French Quarter. It's going to be beautiful. If you've never been to the Cigar Factory before, it's awesome. They're actually hand rolling cigars. Like this is just to paint the picture of you get the French Quarter with all of the culture and the food and the music, and you walk into this open cigar bar and shop where on either side of you got guys lining up and down the rolls rolling cigars, and right there in the back,
incredible. Yeah,
it's going to be us. We're going to have a table. We're going to have the Country Squire Radio logo. We'll have the webcam going. We'll actually have speakers that'll be blasting our voices out into the stratosphere. It's going to be incredible. So you're going to want to be there for this. Because along with that, we're hoping to do obviously hoping to do a long smoke competition with the New Orleans Pipe Club as well. Going to go out, see the city. This is really it's like a family reunion, and in a way that is going to be like unlike any other family reunion. You're going to want to be there for this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, that is happening on October 22nd. So make your plans. Come on down. Join us. We need some kind of tracking system. I suppose I should probably get some sort of. You're gonna have to show me how you put tickets up on the website, because
kind of meet up or something. Yeah, no, we'll figure that out.
We got to figure all that out. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. So plan on it. October 22nd, New Orleans. It's gonna be great. We hope to see you there.
Yeah, man, exciting.
You gotta be there, and you gotta make sure that you're prepared. You can't just like wander in there like you didn't sleep all last night, like me.
No, I was gonna say, like, preparation. Does that mean that like you give your liver a rest for like a week and a half before?
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But you mentioned about how clean cut I look and how I look spry, even though I didn't sleep all night.
Right.
You know what? You know what's fueling me right now?
Yeah. What's that?
Bean fruit coffee.
Oh, bean fruit coffee.
Yeah. Man, bean fruit coffee. If you haven't tried it yet, you absolutely need to. If this is funny, I was thinking about this earlier, but of course, beanfruit.com, use the code CSR for 5% off.
Yep.
I was thinking about how we drink coffee and how, I don't mean to insult. I don't mean this to come across as like I'm insulting people who like specialty, like espresso drinks and mochas and lattes.
Exactly.
But I almost feel like a lot of that comes from like, oh, coffee. How can I make it not taste like coffee?
Right.
If you're somebody who likes the taste of coffee, then you're going to love bean fruit coffee.
Like
literally the notes that you pull out of it is unlike anything else that's out there. We're talking a roaster who is a super geek when it comes to finding the best flavors. Now, you can add your cream if you want to. I'm not judging, but I'm saying that if you like coffee, this is the coffee for you. So again, beanfruitcoffee.com. Use the code CSR, get yourself 5% off at checkout, and help this show happen.
And it helps the show.
Absolutely, man. And happening on the show tonight, we are doing another top 3. Now, top 3 is kind of a series we do from time to time where basically John David, in his vast wisdom and experience, chooses top 3 of something.
Oh, let me show you how sophisticated
to share and educate the rest of us. Now, we've done things like cherry blends. We've done things like dark fired blends. This is actually a top 3 that was sent in, a suggestion that was sent in about picking out top 3 tobaccos for breakfast. Like basically you're waking up in the morning, you got your bean fruit coffee, you got your eggs and bacon, and you want to smoke along with it either before or after. And these are top 3 breakfast blends.
That's it.
From John David Cole's personal selection.
Isn't that something?
What you got for us,
man? Yeah, this is exciting. So let's think about, let's kind of define the category here and set the playing field, right?
That's
so
good.
you know, we're talking about breakfast blends, and when we think about smoking in the morning, it evokes a lot of different ideas to different people. So you've got folks that well, let's take a breakfast blend coffee, for instance. Okay, breakfast blend coffees tend to be my favorite. They're a lighter roast,
higher caffeine,
more caffeinated, tend to be kind of naturally sweet, real bright, and maybe some floral elements there, but lots of strength. Some folks, what wakes them up is not necessarily the caffeine, but you know, they want something that has a richer flavor, something that has just a real bold kind of kick, you know. And so you
slap you in the face.
You think of those folks that really, you know, the flavor is what's more important to them. So they've got kind of the French roast or even Italian roast, where you're just basically torching these beans and getting every little bit you can out of them, you know. But you know, so lower in caffeine, but you know, but you got flavor in spades, you know. And so we can think of tobacco obviously the same way. A lot of folks, when they think of a breakfast blend, they, you know, tend to think of something kind of light and airy, something that is more just real puffable, easy to go, kind of get your head on straight type thing, you know, in the morning. And so a lot of those blends, because they are lighter, they have the, you know, opportunity, you know, if they're heavier in burleys or something like that, to have more nicotine in them, which is kind of interesting. But then again, you've got folks that want to go the other direction.
Right.
And so the flavor profile of that is more important to them. They want the bold, rich flavors that kind of gives their tongue a workout early in the morning. And so you're not focused again as much on perhaps the nicotine or the, you know, the strength of it, but the flavor strength is more important to you. It's an interesting dichotomy if you think about it.
So, you know, without quite revealing yet what you've chosen, when you were thinking through the top 3 to pick out for this episode, were you trying to be cognizant of the different flavor profiles, or were you kind of specifically choosing for yourself?
Yeah, I was being cognizant of the flavor profiles, and then I ignored them all completely.
Yeah.
Well, and again, you know, I'm talking about for myself here. And
who are you? Like when it comes down to it, like which one of these people are you in terms of what wakes you up in the morning?
Well, and I tend to be someone that, you know, in the morning I want something smooth, something that doesn't challenge me particularly, you know, as far as a flavor profile goes, but something that does have plenty of punch and power to it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so I'm the breakfast blend guy. I'm the guy that, like, you know, wants that light roast with a heavy caffeine hit. So does that make sense?
Yeah, let's paint the picture a little bit more here.
Yeah.
Like, do you? Because like in my mind, that kind of style also goes with like an easy wake up in the morning, not necessarily that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I see a John David Cole kind of, you know, rising with the sun, maybe pennies licking your face or something like that.
Right.
Going a little bit easier riser. But how do you wake up in the morning?
Yeah. My morning routine consists of me being annoyed by my dog Penny.
I figured.
Which, you know, has not a lot to do with me and more to do with going to the bathroom. But so anyway, we wake up and then we go make coffee. My choice coffee as of late has been community coffee, which of course is you know, kind of native to this part of the world. But you know,
Louisiana,
there's a lot of coffees that are similar to that. But anyway, so we like to get coffee. Bathrobes are typically involved to some degree, particularly when it's a little cooler
for
outside.
You and Penny?
For Penny as well.
For
Penny as well. She has her own bathrobe.
I'm picturing Baxter from Anchorman.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. She has an ascot. Yeah, it's very none of this is true. And then and then, you know, typically if the morning is cool enough, then a pipe, you know. And so so these are some places that I personally might turn and wanted to you know, kind of point people in that direction. So first, the first one, and these are in no particular order as of 1, 2, 3. This is just a top 3. So we're kind of putting all these together. But the first one I'll talk about tonight is Rainer Gold Label 71. And we've mentioned this kind of in passing before on the show. I've got a can of it right here, Bo. I'll let you take a look at it. This is I love what Rainer does with these little paint cans. It's kind of their
that's a just hefty,
just a hefty tin. Yeah, it's pretty neat. But one of those tins you want to hang on to so you can put something in it afterwards or whatever. But
right.
If you're listening and not viewing, you think of a just basically a small paint can, smaller than like a quart size, thing of paint. It's their gold label, Rainer. Rainer, of course, is a German company, and they are also, believe it or not, imported by Mongear International, which was not planned. But Steve, of course, is sponsoring our event, which is kind of neat. But I'll read on the back here. It says a tobacco for connoisseurs, a very special blend of Golden Virginia from the USA and from Southeast Africa with a little bit of white burley. A touch of Perique rounds off the pure tobacco taste, long flake slices rolled. And so I'll let you take a look at this before I kind of describe the flavor somewhat.
You should mention, of course, gold labeled, also gold tinned. Like it's
yes, this is a gold, like a brass looking tin.
Yeah. Midas picked up this tobacco.
All right, so when you buy Rainer 71, again, you open the can and you think of like flake tobacco, and I'm intentionally hiding this from you so you can't see it. But you think of flake tobaccos having a certain characteristic to it. What they've done at Rainer is they've taken these long plugs of tobacco and then cut them into very long strips and coiled them up, and so you have these beautiful, beautiful slices.
Ooh,
isn't that awesome?
That is nice.
And so you pull it out, and another thing that makes it feel like breakfast is that it's like a piece of bacon.
That was the first thing that actually jumped into my mind.
Isn't that amazing?
This the slices, and maybe this is just from you kind of putting them through the old breakfast system already.
Yeah, but they're kind of disheveled now.
Yeah, they're already kind of disheveled. Are they typically tighter packed than that?
They are. Yeah, this can is not have a lot left in it, honestly, because I smoke it pretty regularly. It's one of those that I want to keep around. But and I'm actually smoking it in my Eagle Claw Meerschaum tonight, which I thought, okay, what's the gaudiest pipe, the most ridiculous pipe that I could smoke tonight on air? And of course, I thought about my Clawfoot Meerschaum. And so smoking the Rainer 71
to the show. That's
smoking the Rainer Gold Label 71 in the Clawfoot, and it's really, really fine tobacco.
I mean, the tin note is unlike anything I've ever smelled here. I want to dive into this like right as of now.
Yeah.
Because this smells amazing.
So let's talk about a little bit some of the reasons I chose this particular blend. And again, we're talking about blends that might have some of that sense of breakfast blend style coffee. Something you might buy at a coffee shop. Something that is light, generally kind of floral or sweet. Just naturally, but then also has a nice punch to it. And of course, the Rainer, I think, has all those things in spades. You've got these light Virginias that, when it's paired with this white burley that they use, it's just a real beautiful leaf. And of course, they press it in these giant plugs that they eventually slice into these strips. But it's got a natural sweetness to it that is very simple. So it's a very simple tobacco. Very simple.
I have no idea what that reference is.
It's very simple. But the tobacco comes across very straightforward. It's got just kind of that natural hay flavor without too much butter, citrus, lemon, anything like that going on. You might get a little honey in it, which they say it does maybe have a little bit of topping from honey on it, which is kind of interesting. But it's very, very, very muted, and I would never consider this an aromatic tobacco. But,
interesting.
And so you've kind of got these light notes, but then the Perique just on the very back end, particularly on the sides of your tongue, just adds this nice dash of pepper.
I didn't smell any Perique.
Yeah, it's lurking in there. It really is. So it's it's one of those things where you've got the Virginias and the white burley pairing with the Perique, and it kind of adds this creaminess along with the pepper, which I think is just really, really pleasing for morning.
Man,
yeah,
excellent suggestion, man. One of the things actually when I'm breathing it in, there's like an English breakfast tea kind of smell to it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. That, a lot of folks, when they smell these Virginia flakes, particularly Virginia Periques, sometimes I hear that. I get, of course, when you open a can of Virginias, particularly from folks like McClellan, you get that, ketchupy kind of smell. But then other folks get a kind of a tea flavor. I very regularly hear green tea. It's one of those things. When you open up the jar, for instance, behind us of Luxury Navy Flake by Peter Stokeby, it's that overwhelming kind of gentle tea smell. It's really pleasing.
It's wild. Like I when smelling that before, I would have never like picked that out. But maybe it's because I've been in a breakfast mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like these flavors kind of jumping up to mind in terms of what also makes sense with the same smoking experience that goes around with having your pipe at breakfast. Mm-hmm. All right, sounds good. So again, this is the
Rainer number 71 gold label.
All right.
Yep. And it's kind of expensive, to be honest. It comes in a 100-gram tin.
Is that the only size?
That's the only size it comes in, 100-gram tin. And you do pay a lot for it. I think MSRP on it is between $30 and $35 for the can. So that's US. So if you're overseas, you're going to pay quite a bit for it. But,
gotcha.
Yeah,
I'll be bumming some off of you.
Yeah. Feel free to have some, but not too much.
As a friend,
right.
Not as a tobacconist. That is how I will be getting some.
Oh no, right.
I I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, no, that's correct, and probably even that would not hold up. But anyway, right. Well, God bless us. Yeah. So number 2 on our list, which I don't have either of the other two with me tonight, but number 2, I wanted to talk about. We're kind of pivoting into a new direction here, and this is not particularly. I guess what you would call consistent for me as far as some of my own things, own desires on breakfast blends, but or at least what you would think, I think. But for me, this is a fun one to insert here. I want to talk about Cornell and Deal Byzantium. Okay.
Ooh, that's a fun name.
Now, this is a fun name, and it's interesting. Every time we get a tin of Byzantium in the shop, I've got these people that are very highly interested in this particular tobacco, and their last names either are Greek or they are some type of Russian, or they're Eastern Orthodox in faith. So it's just really it's just really interesting. There's kind of, I think when people hear about Byzantium, it evokes kind of the Constantine, the Byzantine Empire, and all this kind of stuff. And so it's the East. It's kind of Christendom in the East. It's just kind of this interesting thought. And so we have a lot of folks that come in for Byzantium, and I'm like, oh, what piques that interest? And they're like, well, I go to the Orthodox church down the street. I got to have some Byzantium. So this happens regularly. Fair
enough.
It's very interesting.
That's bizarre-rantium.
Waka.
That was a stretch.
You fell on your face. Yeah. What I like about Byzantium, and again, this is going to be kind of taking a hard left turn here, but for those that are okay with waking up with a palate of something that's very full flavored, we're talking about an Oriental blend that's got just a ton of Latakia in it. So this is a rich, bold flavor. But I think what's nice about this with the Byzantium, it pulls off this thing of having the boldness of Latakia and the Orientals, but also a nice nicotine strength to it. And so that's one thing where the Rainer 71 excels, because it is kind of light, airy, and floral, but it's got a lot of the nicotine. Well, the Byzantium, it pulls off this balance of having the rich flavors, having the robust, silky, velvety, rich Latakia flavors, but then being able to take that and pair it up nicely with a nice, nicotine strength to it. And so Byzantium has both those things. And I think that's hard to pull off in a tobacco. And so I wanted to bring it out because it's got so much Latakia. Obviously, we're talking about a really cool smoke, something that burns easy, cool, very oily tobaccos. It just kind of smolders in there real nicely. But you're not going to have those bright flavors. You're going to have just a whole host of rich, dark flavors, and most of which I think people would get things like plum and dried fruit and, almost a Cabernet type nature to it. Real rich and velvety. But the reason I like Byzantium is it's got a really nice strength to it, which I think is appropriate for the morning. So, I'm going to put that as my number 2 for breakfast blends.
Gotcha. Yeah, the 10 is kind of straightforward, nice little classy look to it, white with the Cornell and Deal logo or the wording kind of written over and over on the striped. In the theater of the mind, I'm describing it. However, the YouTube live viewers can see very clearly we don't actually have this one in front of us.
So theater of the mind.
It's the theater of the mind. It's the theater of the mind.
That's right.
We don't want to rob that from the podcast audience.
Yeah, I don't have a 10 of it in the shop currently because every time we get one, it tends to run out. But it's one of those tobaccos that it's extremely full bodied, but I think pulls off the balance nicely with with nicotine and just with a nice punch.
So do you know how long it's been around? Like, is that, I know that we talked to one of the master blenders or the master blender for Cornell and
Jeremy,
Deal.
I actually don't know how long this particular tobacco has been around. I don't. Cornell and Deal, of course, we love them, always have sold their products and believe in what they do. One thing about Cornell and Deal is they have 58 million tobaccos. They have so many tobacco blends. So sometimes it's kind of hard to keep up with which ones are which and which ones have been introduced when.
Because
just
hang on, 58 million?
No, I'm kidding. Like,
okay.
It's a ridiculous, number, but like
I was going with you there for a minute.
It's meant to be a ridiculous number.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine getting all that through the FDA. That's gonna be great.
There's just no way that exists.
But
I know they got a ton.
But they do. They have so many different options, which for a lot of us is really fun because we are constantly getting to try these new things. But anyway, Byzantium is one of the ones in their lineup that we sell a good bit of here at the Squire, and I enjoy it in the morning. Is kind of a nice change up to some of my more lighter flavors. So
okay, Cornell and Deal. I don't want to tell you how to run your business. However,
I'm about to tell you how to run your business.
I don't know if you've seen those Big Bang Theory shirts that say Bazinga. You should do that in the exact same style and make it say Byzantium.
I like that. I can
that needs to happen. Yeah.
Let me relight my pipe.
As you relight your pipe, I'll I'll let everybody know, if you're watching us live and you're not on Twitter, we've been asking people on Twitter what your favorite breakfast blends are, and we've been retweeting those out as we get them in. So if you'd like to join the conversation, head over to Twitter at Squire Radio, tweet in your favorite breakfast blends. We'll share some of those out here in just a minute.
Got some cool feedback. We'll have to get to some of that.
Yep. All right, so Byzantium.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Last on the list, or is this first on? Because I know you don't necessarily put them in order.
This is not last on. They're not in any order.
Okay,
I'm bad about that. People really want me to put in 1, 2, and 3 order, and I kind of refuse to do that.
So last, but certainly not least.
But last but not least, but probably number one on the market out there.
Okay,
and of course that is Dunhill's Early Morning Pipe. Now, of course, we've got a tobacco here that obviously the name evokes, waking up, and for goodness sakes, there's a rooster and a rising sun on the front of the tin.
I know. It looks like you should have your 2 sunny side up eggs right next to that.
Yeah, that actually might not be a sun. It might be a pancake and an egg.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, it's a beautiful tobacco. It's been around, of course, forever. I think this tobacco is 100 years old. And it's one of those that, everyone's like, well, that's good for the morning. And a lot of people, would automatically assume that would be on this list. And I really gave this some thought. I didn't want to just put it on there because it's called Early Morning Pipe. But we have had a few folks, write in, of course, mention that this is their morning blend. And I think it's fun because what Dunhill did here, of course, years ago, was create a blend that has enough characteristics to really make something nice to wake up to. So what we've got on Dunhill Early Morning Pipe, of course, you can imagine Latakia, Turkish tobaccos with Virginia. I'll read the description on tobacco reviews is sweet Oriental, carefully blended with bright and red Virginias, pressed and lightly stoved. Great as the first pipe, arousing the palate for further pleasures of the day. So this does have Latakia in it, which I think is interesting. But the Latakia, again, it's kind of more nuanced. We've got it's obviously an English blend. You've got Latakia present. It's there and noticeable. But it's not overwhelming some of the other flavors, which I think really play a nice balance role. So we do have these Virginias, the Orientals, which kind of add a zestiness to it, are really nice. And so you've got this almost citrusy thing kind of playing along with the velvety undertones of the Latakia. But I think that what makes this such a popular blend is that it gives folks that enjoy Latakia enough to pique their interest for the day without kind of overwhelming them. It's not that that lat bomb that you might want like after a big old steak meal or something at nighttime. You know what I mean? It's something that's very sippable during the morning. You can continue to smoke it and kind of get your head on straight and not not get overwhelmed with the flavor, but it certainly has enough flavor to keep you very interested and kind of get your juices going. So the Orientals and the Virginias, provide enough sweetness in this tobacco for it to just have this kind of, I don't know, just a nice, pleasant, florally, you might put with your orange juice or something, kind of to go along with your morning. But then the Latakia is really, it's obviously there, but it's not overwhelming as far as the flavor profile goes. So,
man, well selected.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned you don't want to choose it. You want to go off the merits of the tobacco, not necessarily the marketing. But at the same time, marketing goes a long way into how the enjoyment overall of the tobacco. I mean, clearly this is one that they knew what they were doing when they blended it and when they packaged it.
And I think there's a reason why so many people have selected them over the years to smoke in the morning, which is interesting. But again, you've got these just lots of different flavors going on, but overall the sweetness of the Virginias and the Orientals, I think, are paired nicely with the Latakia. And it just gives you something complex enough to wake up to, but not overwhelming. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Got some runners up. Got runners up. Of course, can't talk about breakfast really without talking about Lane 1Q. Got to talk about Lane 1Q.
Oh yeah,
so a lot of folks love that. Just a real nice kind of hint of vanilla in the morning if you prefer more aromatic type stuff. I wanted to mention others like Haddo's Delight, which I thought was good. Haddo's Delight, if you want something more full-bodied, we talked about that, featuring some dark-fired burley and something that's going to be more of a punch, but still not too overwhelming as far as the flavors go. McClellan Oriental 14 too. I thought I'd mention that. The Oriental 14, you've got this kind of Scottish style mixture, but the Latakia lurks in the background, even though, again, like the early morning pipe, it's there. It's not overwhelming, which is really pleasant. So good morning mixture. And then Gordon Pimm's. I thought Gordon Pimm's was a good runner up too. I almost threw him in the mix as well. But anyway, some tobaccos to give a thought to.
That's good, man. We also got some great thoughts from our live audience as well, who's been tweeting in throughout this top three episode. And we've got Wes Brown who mentions the Dunhill EMP.
Yeah.
Jeff Griffin, John Griffin rather, he's kind of mixing it up here with a little Dunhill nightcap.
Yeah,
is actually how he starts his morning, which is it's really good. We also got Portland Paul saying his breakfast blend 50-50 smooth, delicious, and comforting. He's actually got a picture here of Scotty's pancake and McClellan number 620. So I'm guessing what he's saying is doing 50-50 of those two. Which,
looks like it.
Doing a little custom mixing right there.
Anything named Scotty's pancake has got to be pretty good.
Oh yeah. I would hope so. Yeah. Excuse me. We've also got Vladimir Hun. Did I do that right? We also have I'm sorry, Vladimir. We've also got Vladimir on Twitter who is saying Sutliff Sunrise Smoke. And also a lot more actually coming in here as I'm kind of coming through.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Sutliff Sunrise Smoke. Of course, our friend Brian Levine is talking about Amphora and McCraney's Red Ribbon. McCraney's a great tobacconist in the Carolinas. And what else do we have?
How about we'll finish it up with Russ Hicks, who says McClellan Black Shag and number 27.
There you go.
There you go. Great breakfast blends across the board there, and a great top three that you've curated.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no, curation, tobacco curation. I think there's something to be said for that is a skill set. And what I love about this, man, is that the imagery, right? Waking up in the morning, getting your coffee, getting your breakfast, having a pipe to get your start, to your day started. I love the imagery. I love kind of that classic imagery that comes along with that. And when it comes to classic imagery, the people that know classic imagery probably better than anybody else in the entire corncob pipe scene,
Missouri Meerschaum.
And it is apropos because we actually have a pipe sponsoring this show today which is a very classic pipe, and it is actually the Huck Finn.
The Huck Finn
from Missouri Meerschaum.
I love the Huck Finn. I've always said that this is a pipe that if the Bing's favorite wanted to be a corncob pipe, it would probably choose to be a Huck Finn.
Right.
And I like that. You've got a kind of a smallish bowl, a little tall, smallish bowl. It's the kind of a oval shape and with just a real generous shank and then generous stem proportioned with that. So you're talking about a long pipe with kind of a smallish style tall bowl, and it's really handy. Feels good in the hand. Obviously, most of these are going to be kind of rough finished. It's got the lacquer on there, which kind of gives it a nice golden sheen to it. But just a beautiful pipe and one that's very toteable, but because it's so light, but also gives you something nice to change up with because of the length.
See, and now in my head, now I'm picturing Bing sitting there with Huck as they're going down the Mississippi River.
Now, boy, the conversations they would have.
Bing would probably like chew him up, man.
Yeah, probably would.
Like, maybe you need to pull over, get a job or something like that.
Huck Finn might just throw him off the side of the raft.
Yeah.
But beautiful pipe.
They have something very different in each one's pipe.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Bing didn't have the tobacco in his favorite. But yeah, so the Huck Finn pipe, classic pipe from Missouri Meerschaum. Hey, if you don't have a Missouri Meerschaum pipe, this is a great one to get. But better yet, if you already do have a Huck Finn from Missouri Meerschaum, take yourself a selfie as you're smoking it this week. We will retweet that out on the Twitters. And it's a great way to show them love for showing love to us in this show. All right, here we go. Now to the west side. I did that the other day, didn't I? That reference. Sorry. Man, I'm getting props on the live show. Portland Paul saying congrats to me for having my liquid container with a lid on it.
Yeah, I just love that people are proud of you for not spilling things. Which is really good. I will say, in your defense, you're very aware tonight. And I had my Diet Coke sitting close to your right elbow over here, and you're like, why don't you move that?
Yeah,
that's probably good.
I was like, even though it's not mine, it's still in this radius.
Yeah,
just gotta do it.
Yeah. We'll just move it out of the way.
This is the danger zone. That's what that is. All right, pipe question of the week comes in from Parker Brunson, who says, I've been looking for a good tinned cherry blend and was wondering if you gents had any recommendations. Thanks. Blessings. Again, that's from Park Brunson.
Yeah.
I should mention too, before you even to jump into it. Well, no, actually, I'll let you jump into it and then I'll mention it afterwards. So what you saying, John David?
Yeah. Well, a cherry blend that a lot of folks are getting on board with right now. And if we're talking about tinned tobaccos, of course, I've got a whole array of bulk tobaccos that I could point you to. Things like McClellan Triple Cherry, Take 6. You've got the list runneth over. Sutliff Z50. All these are good blends that a lot of tobacconists use and this and that. But in the tinned area, I would highly recommend a tin that's just really popular right now. It has a shall we say a cult following.
I see what you did there.
And it's called Blood Red Moon from Cult Tobacco. And of course, Cult makes cigars, but they've got just a really wildly popular tin series right now. And of course, this is just a regular style tin. It's got kind of a beautiful pitchfork thing going on the front.
Blood Red Moon.
Yeah. The description says this dark, decadent blend combines fire-cured Cavendish, bright Virginias, and Burleys with the delicious aromas of royal and cherry and dark chocolate, a bit sweet, extremely rich, and unquestionably smooth. So I would definitely point you in the direction of that. Folks have been really loving this, and it's been flying off the shelves. Of course, you've got other things like the doggone it, the things like the CAO Cherry Bomb and the Middleton's Cherry Blend is of course real popular, a longtime favorite for folks across the world. So. But anyway, all these things are, options for you to try out. But I definitely point you to the Cult Blood Red Moon.
Gotcha. And, one thing to make mention of as well is, we're doing a top 3 tonight, but actually our first ever top 3 was done on specifically cherry blends. And so if you go back into the Country Squire Radio archives, you'll see a top 3 cherry blends. I encourage you to check out that episode.
That's it.
If you're looking at You want to check out your customer here real quick?
No, that'd be okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, so coming up next, we've got great quickfire. Or sorry, let me re-step that back. Parker, thanks so much for those that pipe question this week. And yeah, man, we will talk to you later. Sorry. I don't want you to not handle your business if you don't need if you need to handle.
No, it's okay. People walking up here, so if you're on the live audience, just kind of.
All right,
we're moving on.
Great question, great pipe question of the week, Parker. We really appreciate you sending that in. And hey, if you've got a pipe question of the week, send that into us, CSR@podastery.com.
That's it.
Quickfire question.
Bring them.
All right, man. These quickfire questions come in as they have the last couple of weeks on thispipelife.com.
Yeah.
This one comes from the Wandering Dude.
Okay.
And my expectation here is that this is someone whose name is very much inspired by the Dude of Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
fame.
the Big Lebowski. Right.
Okay. I could be wrong.
That makes me want a White Russian. All of a sudden. Does it? And a bathrobe.
A Caucasian. Yeah. He was the Dude abides, right?
I can't remember.
I don't know about you, but I take a lot of comfort in that. The Dude abides. Man, we need to see now. That's a movie. If we were to ever pair pipe tobacco in movies, that would be one.
I could get on board with that.
All right,
maybe not breakfast food, but we'll talk about that.
All right, the Wandering Dude. Here's the quick fire questions. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Bass or trout?
Trout. I like bass, but trout.
Trout tastes better.
I'm not going to go to a 5-star restaurant and order bass.
Well,
not that you can, but I don't think you can. But yeah, you get trout.
Yeah. I mean, down here when it actually comes to fishing, you're more likely to catch bass than you
are.
Trout.
Yeah, you are.
But having caught trout before, they're pretty fish.
Yeah.
Spin or casting reel?
Man, all these questions are probably not very good for me. I would go whichever one has the push button on the bottom of it. Is that a casting reel?
I guess so. Yeah. I think that's
when I think of the spin ones, I think of those kind of freehand ones where the string is exposed on it.
Right.
You can tell I go fishing every day, right? Trust me, you should see the stuff I pull in. It's spectacular.
So I use a spinning reel, and I prefer it. The casting reel, obviously it's the one that we all started off with, right? It's like the little tiny fishing pole that your parents got you, had the little button on it and everything. But the problem with those, as you use it more, or at least for me anyway, is that they're more difficult to kind of keep up with. So that if the line gets all tangled up, you have to like deconstruct it in order to make it work.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go spin.
Okay.
Live bait or lures?
Lures, because I don't have to deal with the worm.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to catch something, obviously live bait would be better. But I hear you.
It probably depends on the fish, though, right? I mean, depending on kind of what you're going after, like, some things prefer things that are glittery and have tentacles and all these things that, really don't exist in nature. So we just go buy something crazy at Bass Pro Shop. And then some things just, prefer a live worm or cricket.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, crickets, I could never fish with a cricket. Like,
really?
Back in the day, my grandfather would only exclusively use crickets. And they're just, for me anyway, they're so difficult to hang on to while you're hooking them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can never hook a worm all that well, but typically 9 times out of 10, I'm using worms rather than lures. But I do like the convenience of the lures. So yeah, if I actually want to catch something, then live bait. If I'm just going out there just to hang out and want to, just try my luck.
Yeah.
I'm going lures.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, tackle box or fishing vest.
I like the idea of a fishing vest better, but I'd have to go with tackle box because I could keep all my little widgets in it, and they would all have their own little compartment.
All right, fair enough. For me, it is both. I've typically when I go fishing, I bring my tackle box, but I also have my vest on me. Mostly so I can keep my pipe in my vest.
There you go. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, there
Good
you
question.
go.
I wish I fished. I'm not a fisher person.
Yeah, like there's like one time that you came out that we went fishing together and you just
it almost broke my back.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
It was terrible.
Oh yeah,
it was terrible.
You're never going out there again.
My rear end was it was in bad shape. I slipped on a rock. You gotta give me a little credit. I tried for like 5 minutes.
You saw wet, jagged rocks, and you thought, "Let me just stand."
I think I'll stand precariously on that and try to take pictures. It'd be great.
Again, this come in from the Wandering Dude, specifically on the forums at thispipelife.com. Of course, thispipelife.com, a wonderful online community of pipe smokers. I will actually probably be hitting him up on thispipelife.com to ask him if, in fact, his name is inspired by the Big Lebowski. I mean, it's got to be. But yeah, great individuals, great folks, great personalities. You want to head up to thispipelife.com. If you're not done so already, register yourself. It's absolutely free to do to join this online community. And we encourage you to actually use the code CSR when you do it to let them know that you heard about it on this program.
Yeah, this Pipe Life is great because it gives you the opportunity to interact with folks from, obviously across the country that have similar interests, but may be able to answer questions like this, aside from me and Bo, being informative to you as well. So get on there. There's great opportunities to have fun with other pipe smokers, but also learn a whole lot.
Absolutely. All right, man. Listener feedback this week. We got some great listener feedback, and the first one is actually more imagery than it is anything else. Last week we did this whole episode.
Oh, this is great.
On pets and pipe culture and how kind of pets play into pipe culture, and the feedback that we got was great. One person's tale, one person's pet in particular really stood out to us, I think, and to many listeners. And that is of this guy who mentions his Chihuahua, who helps him pick out his whiskeys and his tobaccos. And in fact, I think, I can't remember if we joked about it or if we actually read that the Chihuahua actually drinks the whiskey sometimes.
No, I think so occasionally, but he helps him select the blend. So it's like, which one would you go to? And, it's like, well, does he sniff this one more or this one more? And it becomes very apparent to Gary which one is the favorite pick. So so obviously he sent us a picture of this very talented dog.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, Gary was the one that sent in the story. His dog here, Cody, sent us a picture. It's up on Country Squire Radio on the Facebook group if you haven't taken a look at it already. And all I can say is that dog is like chilled out.
He looks like he might be a couple fingers in on maybe some Jameson.
Yeah. He may have. In fact, even in the picture, Gary mentions that the dog's trying to get out of gin and tonic. Gary, I think Cody got a little bit of the gin and tonic.
He might have got some without you looking.
That's right.
Did you see the picture that our friend Jim Deshane sent us with his giant? He was listening to our episode Pipes and Pets and had this giant black lab sitting in his lap. This is when he went out of town. But anyway, it was really cool that Jim got to send that in. So pretty great. We got a lot of good feedback on that show, and I think folks had a lot of fun connecting with that.
Yeah, absolutely. We got also some more comments, listener feedback in. Josh Gandy, who writes in, says, "You guys are awesome. I'm in North Dakota working for the next few weeks, but as soon as I get back into the state, I'm coming to get some more tobacco. Got to try that Indian Outlaw."
Man, love Indian Outlaw. Dude, Josh, thank you so much, man.
Speaking of new tobaccos, I think this is something that a lot of people on the live show, as they've been tweeting in, have been asking. We've got this big jar right now they can see on the YouTube channel.
That's right. Yeah,
and
people are asking.
They're like, "What is this?" And in all fairness, there's literally like this big star that's like plastered on the front of it. That
says,
right.
New. Man, that's great. Yeah, we have a tobacco that debuted over the summer. That is new, and it's called Lowland Pine. And I tell you what, Bo, if you will rotate that jar just a little bit, maybe so the camera folks can see it. Perfect. This is actually Caleb the intern's first blend. This is the first blend that Caleb the intern ever developed.
Much like his first steps into the world of tobacco.
Or his first words. Yeah. He did a really good job. I'm really proud of him. Yeah, he worked really hard at it. And what he did is he took a burley that we've been aging here in the shop for quite some time that we've been trying to just kind of figure out how do we utilize this particular tobacco. And so he took this special burley and paired it with just a very subtle kiss of Latakia, Black Cavendish, and some Virginias, and just made a really nice kind of English aromatic style blend. It's very light on the Latakia, and it's very light on the aromatics. The forward is going to be that burley Virginia taste. It has kind of a pine cedary flavor, which is kind of where we get that name.
I would imagine that would go well with a nice peaty scotch.
Really, really good. Really goes well with the nice peaty scotch. So, but anyway, that is Lowland Pine, and soon you will be able to get it on our website. So check that out soon, and we will have it available.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
We also got Thomas Golden, who wrote in. He said there's a podcast called the quote Humans of Rapid City. He just finished being interviewed for that particular podcast and ended up talking a lot about Country Squire Radio.
That's awesome.
And his own pipe smoking and carving and such. So he said, don't know when it will release, but thought he would share. So yeah, anytime you guys, if anybody ever puts a mic or a camera in front of you, you let them know you listen to Country Squire Radio, and we'll share that out.
Hey, one other thing I wanted to mention tonight, we had an incredible, and I meant to mention this at the top of the show, but we had an amazing pipe pilgrimage this past week.
Really?
And it was totally impromptu. Of course, I've got our handy dandy guest book here, which
I love the guest book.
Filling up. I wish I would have had this from the beginning of CSR because we just had so many, dozens of people now stop by and take pictures and just become a part of our community here at the shop. But man, we had a beautiful couple. Christian and Yolanda, They were from Switzerland. I'm not going to try to pronounce their last name because I cannot. But Chris and Yolanda, they came on a grand tour of the Southeast, just as kind of on their summer holiday.
Wait,
I know. That grand tour of the Southeast, and they're from freaking Switzerland. They did that. Isn't that amazing?
Well, I mean, the weather this time of year,
it's perfect, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, okay.
And I basically had the same conversation with them. I was like,
New Orleans, Switzerland, Florida,
right?
Memphis, Mississippi, just in general, the Blues Trail of Mississippi.
Yeah,
there, we joke, but
there's lots to do. But you came at the time of year where mosquitoes are breeding, and you could cut the air with a knife. So right. But they were loving it. They were loving it.
That's awesome.
And they planned their whole trip around taking a day here at the Country Squire, and it was so amazing. They, of course, were just kind of planned it where they could pass through and hit some other spots. They wanted to see some of the rural countryside in Mississippi where folks still grow cotton and things like that. They were going to go down to Natchez and I think check out some of the history there. But anyway, it was just really special. I got to spend the whole morning with this lovely couple. Chris is actually originally from Croatia, which is interesting. Of course, we have a pipe carver from Croatia that we support and believe in his pipes, Davrin Dinovic, who does a lot of work with Morta Olive, and he thought that was interesting. But just this great, lovely couple that decided to take time out of their vacation to come here, and it was just really good. Got to talk shop with them, talk tobacco, and kind of what the pipe culture is in Europe, and of course it's very different. He admired some of the options we have, but I think they have some traditions over there that are enviable as well. So anyway, Chris and Yolanda, if you're listening, we really appreciate you coming by. It meant a lot. And man, these pipe pilgrimages, they really they are so special. They're one of the most special things that people can honor us with, because they literally take time out of their extremely busy schedules to come to a hamlet like Jackson, Mississippi, to hang out with us, and it's really cool.
That's incredible.
Anyway, a shout out to y'all. We appreciate y'all coming.
You got a picture with them, right?
I did. I sure did. Yeah.
Good. I'm telling you, man. You got this blank wall right now on the thing.
It's probably it's probably ready.
Like other shops, throw up celebrities and everything. I say very specifically, if like our celebrities are our listeners.
They are.
Like y'all are the people that we celebrate. That's what a celebrity is. People that you celebrate. We celebrate you. So if ever you were to do a celebrity wall, you've got the pictures already rolling up. All these great folks.
It was really cool. Thanks for coming by, y'all.
All right, guys. So thanks so much for all of that wonderful listener feedback. And hey, we want to encourage you to write into the show, tweet us throughout the week, Facebook message. Hey, write us an iTunes review. This is a great thing that you can do.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, going on to iTunes, writing us a review. And then don't subscribe to us on iTunes. Subscribe to us on the Satchel Podcast Player.
Or do both.
Do what you got to do. It's great. But the great thing, of course, with Satchel is you can help support the show. Send us a few dollars, which is really, really wonderful. And by the way, if you are using Satchel, we got a brand new version of it that just came out a couple days ago. It is solid. We're really, really proud of it. And so we're looking for you guys to, if you tested it out a while back, come on back, try it out. Let us know what you think. If you like it, go ahead and rate that. That goes a long way as well. So review Country Squire Radio. And if you're using Satchel, go ahead and write us a app review for that as well.
Exactly.
Keep up with us throughout the week. You can follow us on the Facebooks, facebook.com/Country Squire Radio. You can follow us on the Twitter as well. You can follow me at The Real Bo York.
I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at @_Country Squire.
And of course, all that information and more can be found at countrysquireradio.com, where you can tune in live on Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. Central. That's 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We'd love for you guys to join us on the live show. We always love getting the live feedback. Something like this too, where the topics are curated or are based off of taste. Obviously your palate is one of the most coveted palates in the entire tobacco world.
Well, that's ridiculous, but I do have a palate that I think has been around the block a few times, and what's fun is to be able to compare that with our listeners' ideas, and so we get a lot of really cool feedback there. Pretty great. That is hilarious.
And so Portland Paul, by the way, just this is fun. Just made a meme. Apparently, Portland Paul likes to make memes of me. This is a thing. Like, it's happening almost on a weekly basis.
Just another reason to love Portland Paul.
Yeah, this is call Kenny Loggins. Your drink is in the Bo danger zone. But it's not. It's not. See, look at this. It's all good.
No, but it could be.
It could be. And watch out for that. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in for the live show. Man, we got so many great events coming up, of course, that we've already mentioned.
Yeah, October 22nd, baby. New Orleans.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
October 15th, long smoke competition here in Jackson, and yeah, tonight's a presidential debate.
Oh gosh, well you watch the debate. You know what I'm going to do?
You're going to bed.
I'm going home to sleep. So I'll tell you what, let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we will talk to y'all next week.
I'm going to get this man to go home. See ya.